Jonathan India just hit a two-run shot at Globe Life Field after Lorenzen hit a batter. So we figured he just hit pitch 100 also. It's the top of the seventh. Cincinnati just took a 5-0 lead. One batter was hit. Next batter goes deep. 6 hits he's given up so far. The newcomer for the Texas Rangers. So Bochy just took him out, but real quick while they're in commercial. So a couple years ago, when we were working a traditional job over there at Honeywell over in Richardson, that was a gentleman trained and older gentleman, old enough to be my father, as a matter of fact. So everybody knows pushing 50 this year. That's one of the reasons why we had to go on out here and start this sports talk radio show because we having that midlife crisis. And so the only way we could adjust on that midlife crisis, we got to talk about one thing we really know how to talk about, sports talk radio. So that's what we did, start a sports talk radio show. So anyway, since Bochy just come out to the mound and just sent Renzen to the coolers, he just gave up a two-run shot after hitting the batter. Then right after that, give up a home run for pitch 100 though, so he did throw 100 pitches. Anyway, they're down 5-0 in the top of the seventh. I think it was only 2 outs when they went to break. But we were about to tell you about when we worked the traditional job over at Honeywell. So the gentleman that trained me was from Houston, came in to work with a big old Houston Astros ring one day, the replica ring from World Series Championship. So since we're big fans of Dusty Baker here at DallasSportsTalkRadio.com, you can connect with us on social media at Dallas Sports TA2. Since we're big fans of Dusty Baker, the greatest baseball player that ever lived, go into the archives and research the greatest baseball player to have ever lived. Check his stats. So we walk in, he got this big old World Series ring on, which made us go snatch that World Series champion Texas Rangers. But we had it before. We actually got it last year before they won the World Series. So actually got it 2 years ago. So never wore it to work until last year. That's what it was. Had never worn it to work until last year. That's that Texas Rangers. Oh, we got the glare. I want to see the glare. You see the baseball? Got a baseball on it. That's that Texas World Series champion Texas Rangers Invicta bracelet. So he comes in with his gigantic replica ring. The ring was so big, like, dude, let me see that. So he puts it over the partition. He drops it in my hand. I'm like, dang, man, this thing has a lot of weight to it. He's like, yeah, that was my gift to myself after they won the World Series. So I was like, well, they just picked up Bruce Bochy. He's like, yeah, that's pretty good hire. I said, so you think you're gonna run Dusty Baker out of baseball again? He's like, Dusty Baker? How is he gonna affect Dusty Baker? I said, well, Dusty Baker just won the World Series last year. He had never won the World Series as a manager. He had built teams, but he had never won the World Series as a manager. Every team he built since Barry Bonds, the greatest hitter in the history of baseball to ever play the game. Ever since Dusty Baker coached Barry Bonds, that's when you realize how great Dusty Baker is. So he built the team. They get to the World Series. Barry Bonds kind of, I don't want to say went into a shell, but after you hit 73 home runs in one season, it's similar to what Golden State Warriors did when they hit that number also. They didn't win the championship. So based upon that, what I just said, obviously, Dusty Baker didn't win a championship when he was the manager of the San Francisco Giants back in 90, 2000, 98, 99. So mm, I, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. So, and plus, today's the weekend, so we don't have to be 100%. There's nobody up here watching us today. We in here, we got free reign. Actually, we were supposed to just come up here and finish up on some of the draft information, see who gets picked and where. Now we just had another two-run shot. So now the score 7-0. Whack it. Another two-run shot with from the reliever. Who is that? Benish? That's his name? Now let's do it. Now Dela Cruz up. Up. There you go, Marcus. Slow that thing down. And that's exactly what they said. 7 runs. They scored 7 runs faster than any team in baseball. And we're witnessing it today in Arlington, Texas, here in the Metroplex, where World Series champion Texas Rangers are getting slaughtered in the top of the 7th. They got 2 outs, so maybe Urena can strike this next one out. Not throwing like that. He just threw a slider 85 miles an hour, way low into the quadrant. So, but Spencer Steer, 0 for 3, 2 groundouts and a fly. He only batted 254, 3 home runs, 19 was, but hey, you just got back to back homer, pretty much. One man missed, next man hit. One man missed, next man hit. So pretty much back to back home runs with a 7-0 lead in the top of the 7th, 2 outs. So old Steer, it's 1-1. He just took a swipe at one, fouled it out. And go back to the NFL draft. You got Buffalo Bills pick is in. And who did they get? Who did the Buffalo Bills get after giving the Houston Texans Stephon Diggs? That's a story for another day. We want to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Atlanta did. It, Atlanta did such a crazy thing. It had, umpire just took one off the bicep. Ooh, that was nasty too. Oh, boy, just ricochet one off the bicep, forearm of the umpire, home plate umpire. That's funny, the stuff that you see in sports, always giving you something to speak of. You go, so the Bills pig, they still talking about 48 wins in the last 4 seasons. That's second in the NFL. Uh, they gave up Stephon Diggs, which we always straight. They lost the AFC divisional round 3 straight seasons. So we all know who they lost to last year. The Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs went up in Buffalo. Right what Josh Allen was saying, that's what he wanted. Oh, they got Josh Allen some help. UTEP, they came down here to Lone Star State, got a 6'4", 319-pound guard out of University of Texas, El Paso. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody trying to get a piece of the Lone Star State. They want that star. They want that star on their chest. So it was gonna go from Midwest all the way up to Buffalo. He's not gonna like that. He's gonna be like, man, just watch out. We had worse snowstorm than y'all had in the in Dallas than y'all did in Buffalo. About the same amount of snow. Y'all had 4 feet, we had 4 inches. Both of them were crazy. Still couldn't get airplanes in. They got 4 feet of snow. They trying to fly people in. We got 4 inches of snow. They like, nah, dog. Nobody doing anything. Won't even let the police go to work before 4 inches of snow on the ground. They like, nope, school's closed. Then they like, school's closed, like it's a big deal. You just set up a Wi-Fi connection in 2020, or so you told us, but that's a story for another day also. You have to go to at Talk King Live to get that about the schools, things in the community. Right now, on a Saturday, we just freestyle and having fun. Bill's pick is in. Kevin Booth, the director of Management Council, is at the mic, and the Travis Clayton, a guard from England. That's who the Bills just picked. I thought I just said it was a guard. Hold up now. I just told them another name. They picked back to back. So the Commanders on the clock at pick 222. Okay. So the pick is already in for the Commanders. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're doing like speedy rounds, round 7. They're trying to get over with. Dude played rugby. That's a big dude. So the dude that trained me at Honeywell is from Houston. So he coming up with that big old ring on. I say, man, now that Bruce Bochy is here in Dallas, you think they're gonna run Dusty Baker out of baseball? It's like that Bruce Bochy got to do Dusty Baker. So they had to educate him on the history between Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker. Bruce Bochy was the manager that reaped the benefits of the team that Dusty Baker built in the 90s when he won championships with the San Francisco Giants. Moses Alou took over. So Dusty Baker was the first Negro manager San Francisco Giants had hired. One of the reasons they brought him in because they felt that Barry Bonds, coming the star that he was, needed a star to reel him in. So that's why we try to get everyone to understand. Dusty Baker is probably the greatest baseball player to ever walk the earth. And you need to sit down and actually have a Dusty Baker baseball museum. That's something that we should start in the black community. You want to know why Negroes don't play baseball? Because all our idols have been villainized. You talk about Barry Bonds, the home run leader. No one talked about Barry Bonds until he broke Babe Ruth record. This dude hit 73 home runs in the season. Not one sports reporter, not one analyst, not one investigative journalist, not one general manager, not one bad coach, nobody. Nobody came out saying Barry Bonds was juicing. This dude hit 73 home runs in one season. No one said anything until he passed the baby. So Barry Bonds, greatest hitter ever. Dusty Baker, the greatest baseball player that ever lived. We watched Barry Bonds when he was 19 years old, Pittsburgh Pirates. We used to run around town with the Pittsburgh black and gold on the cap. That was the high school colors, black, gold, and white. So it just fit around with that P on your cap. Everybody knew. Barry Bonds, favorite player. Plus, he's a lefty. That was my favorite player. So when you start talking about Barry Bonds had the juice to hit a baseball, and you know how ignorant you sound. I go out there and hit a baseball across the fence. I'm 49 pushing 50. Can still do it. Was doing it when I was 17, 18, 19 years old. Going to college, Stillman College, HBCU, building endowments, boosting enrollments. Connect with us on social media. Find out more about building endowments and boosting enrollments. Find out how to make some money with Executive Order 13532 that President Barack Obama put out there for you to learn. That's what we're gonna teach you with this sports talk radio show. We're gonna teach you how to make money. We're gonna teach you how to get up here in the seat. We can sit up here with stars all on you. Got your merch, got your own website, got people knocking on the door saying, "Hey man, what you talking about up there? We only talking about what's going on in the Metroplex, but we're talking about it from the position that people want to hear it. No one wants to hear Jerry Jones. What is Jerry Jones doing? Is he crazy? Jerry Jones is wealthy. Jerry Jones had his grandchildren in the draft room. No other team had has or is having what Jerry Jones has with the Dallas Cowboys up at the Frisco. The man had his grandchildren in the draft room, and everybody talking about is when my grandchildren come up here to the studios, when my boss allow my grandchildren to come up here to the studios, that's when you're really gonna see some sports talk radio. That's when you're really gonna see some showing out. That's when you're really gonna see someone who doesn't care what anyone has to say. When the grandchildren get to come, this man sitting in the main chair, big old star right up over his head, and his grandchildren sitting around, and they like, Papa D, who you gonna choose? Man, we're gonna go up to Oklahoma and get our number one quarterback passing wise, touchdown wise in the NFL during the 2023 season. That guy, we're going to go get him a first round offensive tackle from Oklahoma. You know how big this dude's going to be? You thought Tyron was big. This dude is as big as Tyron. You know what that does? It gives Rain Dakota Prescott a false sense of security where he doesn't have to worry because he still has a 6'7" wall on either side of him. That's what y'all don't understand when you start talking about Jerry Jones don't know what he doing. Man, this dude built a team that wasn't winning anything, wasn't winning, turned them into a winner. And everybody thinks that they just supposed to reap the benefits when you don't even understand. You're doing fantasy draft. Now, how you supposed to make money off of fantasy? The only person we've ever heard of that made money off of fantasy was Mariah Carey and ODB. Man, be for real. It's 2024. You want to do some sports talk radio? How you gonna talk about the man that pays your paycheck? He paid your bills, and you gonna question what is he doing? He hasn't done anything. The whole off season, everybody else is doing this. Everybody else is doing this. Well, I used to be a scout with the professionals, and I'm worried about this team because I grew up loving this team. You know what that sounds about? That sounds like what they call them? A Dallasite bias. See, people don't want y'all to remember. It's been 30 years since the man is on the team. When he first got here, they didn't want him to own the team. Duh. So for 30 years, he been fighting whole Dallas fan base. They didn't want him to have the team. Now he's turned the team into a multi-billion-dollar industry, and everybody wants a piece of it. Think about how you sound when you try to critique the man who's trying to help you. Now, we will tell you the tickets are high. We buy the tickets, pay for the parking. We go every year. Since 2012, we've been going almost every home game they've had. So we know the tickets are expensive. During COVID, we were with the 30,000, and everybody was saying, hey, how did they set a record for attendance? We were the fools that were buying tickets during COVID, sitting up there till Dak broke his leg, and like, dang, what's Mike McCarthy gonna do now? Mike McCarthy didn't even react. That's why we say you didn't understand Jerry Jones when he got here, took the team. Now you got a different generation that's seen Jerry Jones as a businessman. Now we're not saying that everything Jerry Jones does is right, because we're going to get on that also. But from the fan perspective, you have to be intelligent with your arguments. This man is showing you how to build a dynasty in Dallas. That's what you're not getting. The only two shows that were on TV back in the 80s were Dynasty and Dallas. One was the oil and one was advertising, or real estate, or whatever the Carringtons did, they were the two that were on TV. But similar to living in the state of Alabama, where you can only choose one team, so they say, Alabama or Auburn. What if you don't like either one of them? What you gonna do? What if you don't like Alabama or Auburn? You support Stillman. You support Miles. You support Alabama A&M. You support Alabama State. You support Tuskegee. What if you don't like Alabama, the University of Alabama, or Auburn? What does the person do then? And they like, you're from the state of Alabama. You either gotta like one of them, Alabama or Auburn. Man, both of them suck. How about that? Both of them suck. Glad Nick Saban gone. Wish they would have kept Gene Chizik another year, and wish they could have replicated Cam Newton for years to come. Hey, don't get it twisted. Marshall was still tearing those Crimson Ties up. So what is it if you don't like Alabama or Auburn? Then what do? Star Sports Talk Radio show in Dallas. Get to sit back, talk all the crap you want, and say, hey, you know why? Because I'm from the state of Alabama, where we're the last state that had the Heisman Trophy winner back to back. Only other state did that was Ohio. I better check the stats, man. Better check the stats. Other states that's doing the things. Hashtag Alabama bias at Dallas Sports TA2 on social media. Give us a shout. You reach out to us, you follow us, we'll follow you. Give us a review, give you a review back. Once you start boosting, we start boosting, bring you in, start telling you how to make money off social media. That's all we're here for. Talk crap about local teams from a fan perspective, support Ryan Dakota Prescott until they kick me out of this seat, because that's the best thing since sliced bread. It's the best thing since Jerry Jones you've had, really, because Troy, they came too quick. So Jerry had to build something. And when he slipped up and got a little raindrop on his head, now he's trying to figure out how to take advantage of that water. I want to do hydro winds. Y'all not understanding. It's deeper than football. It's deeper than this little crowd. He was so bad. What is Jerry Jones doing? He's building something for his children and his children's children and his children's children's children to go up there and sit up there in that little bubble that they call it, the two bubbles, y'all bubble tops. Man, we got two multi-billion-dollar facilities, about what, 60 miles from each other. If you go and you do a straight line with it, 60 miles from each other, you have $2 billion facilities built by one person. And you want to question how he builds the football team. The only thing we want to know from it, why you charge so much for tickets, dude. Like y'all killing us with ticket prices. Like even during COVID, like that's why we always start with COVID, because that's the barometer. Everybody can understand how they felt when they went through COVID. Money was tight then, money is tight now. Tickets were still $300 in the cheap seats. Nobody even in the stadiums still charge premium prices. Thanksgiving, don't give you no turkey, cranberry. They got all those legs down there on the sideline. Jerry Jones don't bring you no leg. Oh, we don't even eat cranberry sauce. Don't bring you none of that. You done paid full price for the ticket. But the only good thing about going to AT&T Stadium during COVID, when you would walk into the stadium from way up around the mill, it wasn't that far. You could park pretty much at the visitor center in Arlington, and that's where you're going to go anyway, unless you uh, get you a parking pass at the stadium. That's going to be your starting point. They're not going to let you park at Globe Life Field or over at Choctaw. And the funny thing is, the parking is available. It's the funniest thing that we say. You want to make money and you want to make your team marketable, but you don't make it accessible to the people in the right way. All right, you got three empty parking lots and people got to walk a mile or a half a mile to the stadium just because they're a diehard fan. That's not cool. And then got to get there, and sometimes you don't have vendors. They got good attitudes. You got hospitality that hate that they working during the game, but chose the job to be the hospitality staff. That'll be like us sitting up here today on a Saturday, the 27th of April, 2024, upset because the boss got us up here watching the NFL draft 2024 on one screen, doing content on another screen, and watching the Cincinnati Reds go up 8-0 on the World Series champion Texas Rangers at Globe Life Field. Good thing about it, Texas beat them yesterday. They supposed to be a 7-run team. Jump out on you 7 runs. You didn't get 7 runs yesterday. The number to call, 888-637-7678, 888-637-7678. So we were telling you the story about working at Honeywell. The gentleman that trained us was from Houston, had this big, beautiful World Series ring, came in immediately. I was like, yo, yo, yo. He had on the Space City jersey, everything. H-Town cap. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's some fresh chucks. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. See, we didn't work the same shift at the time, so the only time we used to see each other was in passing. So I used to, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go outside, wait for him to come in, be there, give him a pass down. So before I give him a pass down, I got to talk about sports. So he's like, man, you're the only person I've ever met that sit up and all you do is talk about sports. I'm like, because that's all I can do. I can do this job. I can make $80,000 a year doing somebody else. But the thing I really like doing is sitting up here telling everybody how crappy Mike McCarthy is as a coach, how crappy Jason Garrett was as a coach, and unless Jerry Jones decides to fire him. See, Dan Quinn was smart, fell on the sword, walked out. Mike McCarthy won't do that because he is Stephen Jones' friend. But that's not the story. That's another story for another day. We're gonna get back into Rangers getting blown out at home. Nobody's getting any hits. Everybody's striking out. And how we got to Bruce Bochy was going to run Dusty Baker out of baseball. The number to call, 888-637-7678. Subscribe, engage, like, connect with us on social media at Dallas Sports TA2. You follow us, we follow you. You come in with us, we come in with you. Once you do a review, we're going to invite you in. You come down, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. If you like it, we watch it. If you missed it, we will talk about it. That's us, DallasSportsTalkRadio.com. So we're telling the story about how we foresaw Bruce Bochy was going to run Dusty Baker baseball. So the gentleman trained me in Houston, I asked him, I said, you know the history between Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker? He like, what do you mean the history? I said, pretty much those three World Series that Bruce Bochy won, they won them with Dusty Baker teams. He like, what? I said, check this out. Bruce Bochy was the manager of the San Diego Padres. Took them to the World Series with Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn was the only hitter that they had, and their pitching was crap. Pitching was straight crap. But them they could knock the leather off the ball. Plus with Tony Gwynn, Hall of Famer, that was our guy. Get him to the World Series. Both chokes as a manager. Everybody jumps on the Hall of Famer, Tony Gwynn. But Tony Gwynn, like, I can only hit the ball. I can't throw the ball. I can't go field the ball, pitch the ball, field the ball, hit the ball, and manage the game at the same time. So Bruce Bochy gets fired in the National League West. Where else in the history of sports does a manager get fired and gets rehired in the same division? Moses Alou was the manager after Dusty Baker because baseball was going through this Negro white thing. Negro white thing. Uh, Gary Sheffield, Fred McGrill, all of them felt the Bo Jackson. They ran them out. Ken Griffey Jr. That's what they were about. It was Negroes versus whites, but we all trying to feed our families off baseball. So that's where Dusty Baker comes in. That's why we tell y'all Dusty Baker is the greatest baseball player ever. The history that he has in his career is baseball. The segregation, the integration, being the top star in a World Series, managing, building a franchise, and becoming a World Series manager. So we started telling the gentleman who's older than us, wearing his Houston Astros World Series replica ring, got on that H-Town cap, Space City jersey. I like, and the fresh chucks. Can't forget the fresh chucks. So comes in, I hit him up, say, hey, what if Bruce Bochy runs Dusty Baker out of baseball? He's like, what do you mean? So I started with that San Francisco story about how Moses Alou pretty much gave the team to Bruce Bochy, and Bruce Bochy took the developmental team of Dusty Baker when they were seasoned. The only thing he added was Lincecum. And if we're not mistaken, go back, I think Dusty Baker was grooming Lincecum when he was in San Francisco because he was a California kid. That's where we got the name Barbie from. It was Tim Lipscomb because he had that long flowing hair, looked like a doggone hippie from California, still playing in San Fran, throwing nothing but heat. I think Dusty Baker was the one that found that kid, and Bruce Bochy just reaped the benefits of him. He had Tim Lincecum and Madison Bumgarner. That's you go back check the history. You're gonna learn something checking us out. DallasSportsTalkRadio.com. You'll learn some real baseball knowledge, some real baseball understanding what's going on when you talk about you want more Negroes in baseball. Where are the blacks? We're the ones that you rejected. You always told us that all our heroes were cheaters. He's a cheater. He cheated. Man, no one can take steroids and hit more baseballs. Sound like an idiot. Go out there and try it. You know, do the thing on scientific research. Sound like fools. We're gonna keep him out of the Hall of Fame because he took steroids allegedly, and he hit more home runs than anybody ever in the history of baseball, recorded baseball. So why would I want to tell my son to go play baseball? Why? What makes it interesting to him? Like, as soon as I get to the point of becoming something, they're gonna try to knock me down. You like, why even put for all that hard work, going trying to develop a hand-eye coordination, going trying to buy a $200 glove and break it in? Because you can't play with the $5 glove at Five Below. So you want more Negroes in baseball, but you're not doing anything around our communities to get Negroes interested in baseball. We don't see Ray Davis over here at the corner of Keith and South Lancaster Studios telling us, hey, we're going to go build a ballpark at one of these run over fields, and we're going to do something because the Texas Rangers just won the World Series. Never won the World Series ever. The first time in the franchise. So we want to do something groundbreaking. We want to do something big. We want to start supporting the community that baseball is saying they want more Negroes in baseball. But what is baseball doing to attract more Negroes? Besides saying they were cheaters. We can't hit a ball as far as the white boy. So why should we want to be a part of Major League Baseball? I would tell my son not to play baseball. I would actually teach my son fundamentals of baseball. Or teach my son how to hit 405 feet. Yeah, that's me. So they used to call me Baby Ruth back when I was playing out in the schoolyards. They want more Negroes in baseball. But we're telling you how Bruce Bochy runs Dusty Baker, arguably the greatest baseball player to ever walk these these the land of the free. Dusty Baker is he. Look how they've treated him over the however many 40 years, 50 years, 60 years in baseball, every many years he been in baseball. They've been treating him like crap. When he was at San Francisco, he couldn't get those 3 World Series. Those go to Bruce Bochy. He go build the Cincinnati Reds team we watching today, facing World Series champion Texas Rangers, managed by who? Bruce Bochy. Dusty Baker built a playoff contender from the World Series to Cincinnati Reds when they were going through mediocrity. I'm talking about straight up trash. Dusty Baker went in there, turned them around. As soon as he turns them around, fire. Go to Chicago with the Cubs. Garbage. 108 years. Haven't even sniffed anything since Andre Dawson and Ryan Sandberg played. Ryan Sandberg was a garbage second baseman going out on last leg. But that's that's the type of people they had in Chicago. Later on down the line, you get Dusty Baker come in, manage him. That's when the fan stuck his hand out and kept the dude, Moses Alou Jr., the dude who was cussing the man out and made him a pariah in Chicago. Funny how history repeats. You got Moses Alou Sr. was the one who replaced Dusty Baker in San Francisco, the first Negro manager in the history of San Francisco. Moses Alou come in and replace him, so they ain't want any type of yeah. So then Moses Alou like, I don't want to manage anymore. I'm an old man. You were an old man when you took the job. No disrespect, because Moses Alou, other one of my favorites. Cito Green, one of my favorites. I go down the line. Terry Pendleton, one of my favorites. Ron Washington, my ultimate favorite. But you can't have Ron Washington as your hero when all the white men want to talk about, isn't it alleged that he got caught with some drugs? Come on now. What are we really talking about when we talking about sports talk radio? What does him alleged doing anything? You are how can run because he took your team to the World Series in almost back-to-back years. It's like, come on now. It was back-to-back years. Then you fire him and want to muddy his name. But every time he come to the city, everybody, Ron Washington was the best thing to happen to the Texas Rangers, blah, blah, blah. Texas Rangers, Ray Davis don't say that. You don't hear Ray Davis give any person of color credit. That's what we're trying to get y'all to see. Yeah, you see the colors? Because we called it. We called it. We got it written down in the calendar. We called it. Texas Rangers was going to win. Because Bruce Bochy was here. Y'all not getting it. Because Bruce Bochy was here. Teeter-totter. Teeter-totter. You still had the same losses that you had when Chris Woodard was the manager. You couldn't win close games. You have to put up 7 runs or you don't win. Check the record. That's why you didn't win the division. A team like Houston was mature enough to know it's 162. We'll catch them at the end, and they did. Got into a pissing contest with Seattle Mariners, and let those young kids blur your vision. Same way it was when they just came to town, or you just went up there, just beat you down. You let the young kids blur your vision. Don't stick to the script, trying to be something that you're not. So we're telling you again how we picked that once Bruce Bochy became manager of the Texas Rangers, it was only a matter of time before Dusty Baker was gone. And you saw it the whole season. They gave them the division what they do in the playoffs. 7 games at home. Get out of here. When he came in and he didn't win, we were surprised that they let him come back. You saw they fired the general manager. People weren't paying attention. Baseball has been real dirty to Dusty Baker. That's why we want him on the show. So he can sit here, he can really say, yeah, when you start talking about my career and what happened while I was there, that's the cool thing about it. You know, my children were well dressed. They went to the best schools. They ate some of the best food. They drank some of the best, cleanest water. That's what we're not getting in our communities. Right outside studios at the corner of Keith and South Lancaster, we sit down here 2 weeks with a water issue. 2 weeks. City don't come out here anything. 2 weeks. We got a state representative right next door to the studio. 2 weeks before they came out here to fix the water. So don't talk to me about what you want to do in the community, why there are no Negroes playing baseball. What are you doing in the community to attract the Negroes to the baseball diamond? You're not doing anything. Opening day, Texas Rangers, World Series champion. Ray Davis, $5 billion. We're not counting your money, $5 billion. Who had the highest gate in all of baseball opening day? Texas Rangers. It was teams that were charging $27, $40, $50. Ray Davis was charging $140 for a ticket. 140. That's not counting the fees. Add the fees. You up to 167, 69. Then the tax, 171, 172. You're almost at $175 for one ticket. Then park to park on the campus is $40. To park down the road, $30 if you're close to the campus. Further away you get to the campus, the higher it is. It doesn't go down just because you're further away from the campus. We've been there several times. I'll tell you. The coolest thing about the Dallas Mavericks, you can catch the dart. $3, jump on the train, go right downtown, get off at the Victory Line, gotta catch the orange or the green, go downtown. Or if you're coming from Fort Worth, gotta catch that TRE. We used to do all that when we were in school, going to the Aviation Institute of Maintenance over there in Irving. We used to catch the train every day. Train, like, the bus driver was like, man, why you catch the train every day and catch the bus? Said, because I could park my car for at least 2 years. I knew for at least 2 years I was going to be in school. I was going to be dedicated at a 32-month course. So that was almost 3 years right there. So canceled the insurance, parked the car, and caught the train. Save yourself $4,000 a year. We just trying to tell you how savable. Been through the child support thing, had to get off of it. The only way we could get off of it, we found this aviation course. So you want to email to the aviation course, subscribe to our website, DallasSportsTalkRadio.com. There'll be a link on the website where you can find out if you're 18 years or older, a U.S. citizen, can read, write, and speak English. Those are the only requirements. Oh, you must be a U.S. citizen. That's what's gonna help our brothers get up out of the ghetto. You must be a U.S. citizen. So if you're over 18, graduated high school, can read, write, and speak English, and are a U.S. citizen, subscribe to our website, DallasSportsTalkRadio.com. The number to call, 214-605-0212. You want to become an account executive? We can teach you make money on social media at Dallas Sports TA2. Subscribe, engage, like.